on the mic and he's ready to go. Noodle on his left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Wow. What a weekend, man. Football was hot in the streets. Gotta give credit where credit's due. I know I love baseball and baseball is fun, but man, a really good weekend of football. Good morning, Bakers. Happy Monday. Welcome back. It's better. It's a better week. Last week, tough week.
Stinky.
First week of the year. Girlfriend Jess had a really good point that the first week back in the new year being a full week actually kind of stunk. Like the fact that it wasn't New Year's was on Monday, Tuesday, and then you get in Thursday, Friday. You don't ease in. Like, you're fully back. That's tough.
I'm trying to think of what, did people get, an extra week in there despite not coming back? Because it was Fridays were the holidays, right?
Fridays were the holidays.
Technically start a little earlier.
I think it was just short weeks, and now last week was tough, and we came back last week. If you got through it and you're a sports fan, holy football, what a weekend. Producer BBD, myself, Jake. Good morning, Bakers. Speaking of Bakers, called a segue, folks.
Get used to it.
Welcome to the biz. Guys, we start out on Wake and Jake with the game of the night. And it's one game that stood out. There's a lot of good games. The Nick game, we'll talk about that a little bit. But man, oh man, the Browns and Steelers, the Sunday night nightcap. And there was almost a moment of, will this game be bad? It's the Browns going to Steelers. The Browns, all the COVID stuff. They got no coaches. We got no coaches. After a good weekend of football, there was almost this fear factor as a football fan that, maybe this game is going to stink. And it's like, have we already seen so much fun football? How about the opening snap? The old play out of my Broncos Super Bowl playbook in the Meadowlands. Pouncey snaps it past Big Ben. Touchdown. Browns at 7-0 on the fumble recovery. They come back. Pick. Big Ben does a little dumpy pass over the running back. Interception. Jarvis Landry thing. Hunt again. The Cleveland Browns are up 28-0 in the first quarter. The first quarter. Are you kidding me? This team that's been devastatingly bad for the last 25 years. This team that's been tortured by the Steelers. They come out and they work them in the first quarter, and yet things got a little fun. The Steelers, James Conner touchdown, 28-7. Good for the Brownies, man. They marched down the field in a touchdown that gets overlooked in this game, but think how scary it would have gotten later. Austin Hooper touchdown late in the second. Steelers tack on a field goal, end of it. It's 35-10 at the half, 35. And then the Steelers get going. Ebron touchdown. Juju on the beat. He had a big game, but he dances, so a lot of people hate him now. Actually, his quote before this game, bad. Can't do that and get whooped up on. And then the play that ends up getting talked about a lot. The Steelers are rolling. They have all the momentum in the world. They've scored the last 17 points. Are they going to make Cleveland go full scared mode? 4th and 1. And Tomlin punts it. That new football Twitter account, the punting Twitter account, it's like, what are the softest punts of the year?
Got 2 of them yesterday.
Yeah, we saw 2 of them yesterday. Pittsburgh does one of them. And then Cleveland drives. Nick Chubb, 40-yard touchdown screen pass. Beautiful, beautiful screen pass. It's 42-29. Pittsburgh kept battling, but it was over. Cleveland Browns get the win, 48-37. Pittsburgh won the final 3 quarters, but they lost the first one, 28-0. Honestly, a lot of fun. I tweeted out at halftime, are we still watching this? And it was a good watch, man. It was a good watch.
Worth sticking with.
Yeah, for the Cleveland fans, congrats, obviously. Just insanity. And to do it in Pittsburgh, felt like a big moment for the franchise. You got the young quarterback you like. You got a new head coach. And you did it against the guys that have killed you every year. So, I was going back to, I'm not saying the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl, but, when the Red Sox had to go in and win the World Series for the first time, they went through the Yanks, and I think that was a big part of it for them. Like, getting through that one team that has terrorized you, I think is a big step. Good for Cleveland, man. Was going through their year-by-year stuff. It's crazy. If you go Pro Football Reference and look at the Cleveland Browns, my gourd. So good for them. A great way to nightcap Sunday night. Browns win 48-37. And that game of the night was brought to you by DraftKings. Before we get into the other games, the holiday season may be over, the sports calendar is in full swing. It really is. Collegiate, pro, there's no shortage of action, and no better place to get in all the action than DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. If you haven't tried it out, what are you waiting for? DraftKings. Celebrate this year's football playoffs. DraftKings is giving all new players the chance to bet on any of the weekend's professional football games at 100-1 odds. That's right. All you have to do is bet $1 on any football game this weekend, and if your team wins, you cash $100. While we're all excited for football, let's not forget about basketball, BBD. 2021, it's happening. Daily odds boost at DraftKings, and it's safe, secure, reliable, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Jomboy when you sign up to get 100-1 odds on any football game this weekend. That's code Jomboy for new players to get a shot at $100 on any football game this weekend. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. NJ, Indiana, PA. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gaming problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WIT-IT. Whoo! With it. Yeah, don't dial with it. That.
But it's more fun to say that.
But it is more fun to say that. Big Baby David A, how are you? And then, I guess any Steelers Brownies notes before we go on to the other games.
Jake, I'm well. Another fun weekend watching football with my grandma.
Hot.
I'm trying to think. Is it weird to say the Browns shouldn't care what happens the rest of the way? Because I feel like if you got to the playoffs, that's awesome, new heights. But if you just got stomped or even just beaten in any way by the Steelers, it still feels like.
How about this? How about they're playing with house?
Not being a Browns fan, easy for me to say.
They're playing with house money because they're playing Kansas City. So enjoy it and have some fun. And hey, if you really want to get your underdog on,
you're still a talented team.
You thought Pittsburgh was fun. The worst 11-0 team ever. You're going to KC, but enjoy it, man. Got to. How's Grandma?
She's well.
Okay.
Figuring it out.
I think I saw a tweet from you that looked like it was kind of dark.
Oh yeah,
if I don't see you again.
I said if I don't see you again, before you go to sleep, good night. And then I had just turned the lights off in her room. So I think that really threw her off. But but I said, all right, well, if I don't see you again, good night. And she just said, okay, I don't care.
Wow. That's tough. Thanks, tough.
Graham.
Thanks, Graham. And my shoulders look dainty today. Jimmy and Katie said I was looking slim today. I think my shoulders just look small.
I don't know. I think I agree. The gray's working.
Time to get in the
Usually
gym.
It's a tough color to feel slim in.
Get me in the gym. BBD, let's do the rest of the games because, again, talk about a win for the NFL this wild card weekend. My gourd. Let's do the rest of the games, and we'll talk about them. That sounds like something a sports show would do, right? Are we Cron Pod, BBD?
I think so.
Okay. Which means game one, the kickoff Saturday, 1 p.m., Colts and Bills. Phillip Rivers. Man, talk about entertainment. Phillip Rivers, if nothing else, has had an entertaining career. Man, in these Buffalo Bills, we kind of got hot on them. When we started looking at them, like they were a Hail Mary away from being a 14-2 team. I told you I thought this game might be tight. Turns out it kind of was. Rodrigo Blankenship with the field goal early to put him up. He also became a story a little bit later. Touchdown pass. Josh Allen with the big run to end the first half. And the other controversial thing, the Colts go for it. I think it was 4th and 2 on the goal line. 4th down on the goal line to go score. They get stopped. Would have given them a big lead in this game, and instead the Bills drive back. It's 14-10 Buffalo at the half. Bass, big field goal, 46 yards. That was huge. Hits a 54 one later to put it out of reach. Jack Doyle, the bane of my existence, he gets a 27-yard touchdown pass. Where is that whenever I play you in fantasy, Jack Doyle? Instead, it's 1 for 3 yards. That's a personal thing. Stephon Diggs had a big touchdown catch in this game. Phillip Rivers with the Hail Mary at the end. Kind of tough to watch from the 50-yard line. Got it about 5 yards short. NFL quarterback. That's tough. He doesn't have the arm strength he used to. This was a fun game, man. I think there was that fumble late on Josh Allen that had everyone nervous. And then there was also the fumble that should have been called on Indianapolis.
This is the game that there were like three challenges or reviews in a row.
Yeah, it was kind of like what's happening for a little bit. Luckily, the team that should have won, the best team, and the team that won this game ends up winning. Buffalo Bills 27, Colts 24. Last time we see Phillip Rivers? I don't know. Good for the Bills. They move on. Let's keep churning, BBD. Let's go Rams Seahawks.
Yeah.
Your guy Wolford. Your guy for a little bit. Wolford gets the start in this. Is it wolf like a dog? Do you say wolf like the animal? Wolford?
I had it when the game was going. I had nailed it.
Wolford. Wolford. Anyways, Wolford gets the start with Goff as the backup quarterback. No Blake Bortles, which everyone inactive for the game. So everyone was like, okay, so, I mean, Goff must be pretty banged up, but then you're putting the math together. Wolford gets knocked out. Jamal Adams pops him, and Goff comes in. And then it was kind of like, okay, so is Goff the backup quarterback? He did have surgery 12 days ago, I think, on his finger, his throwing finger.
Thumb, I think. Right? So
that does count, but Goff God comes in, and again, this is in Seattle. This is let Russ cook. 3-0 at 3-3. I mean, it's 6-3 midway through the second quarter, and then the Rams kind of turned it on, and it was all because of the pick six, man. I mean, the wide receiver screen. DK Metcalf had been throwing a hissy fit on the sideline, which I like DK, and he's really good, but I don't think he's full-blown hissy fit good yet.
Yeah,
I feel like he's
like at least one. He needs to repeat this.
Yeah, he's like a year and a half away from hissy fit wide receiver IMO. Darius Williams, that pick six on the screen. I mean, it changed the whole flow of this game script. The phrase from last week's episode. 13-3. DK Metcalf on the other end after his hissy fit, he catches a 51-yard touchdown, which was pure Russ Wilson rolling the wrong way. Metcalf over the top. 13-10, and you're like, okay, the Seahawks are going to turn it on. Here we go. They really don't. Rams get another one before the half. It's 20-10. Field goal. Robert Woods, touchdown pass from Goff. They were just hammering the run. They were running so much all over the Seahawks. And then they hit Robert Woods. I think it was play action. 30-13 in Seattle. Seattle gets another tutty late. DK Metcalf, so maybe he does get to be a little hissy. The Seahawks, man, talk about a weird, messy year. Their offense was elite, then they fell off. Their defense stunk. Their defense was good. Then they kind of just hit this weird middle area of bleh. And that was the result on the field, man. Rams win in Seattle. I think it's their first playoff loss in Seattle, or there's some crazy stat like that.
Like since
Maybe it's recent years, or maybe it's even not. I don't know. The 12-4 Seahawks, they lose 30-20 to the LA Rams, and finishing off the Saturday slate. And maybe we'll divide it Saturday and Sunday, BBD, because I'm starting to run out of oxygen. The Yucks and the Washington football team. Your Washington football team, BBD. That's not true. And this was another scary one. It's like, okay, you're giving Tom Brady the night spot, but I don't know if this Washington football team could be really, really bad.
At full strength.
But instead, I mean, a hero was born. Hey, the Bucks go up 9-0. Oh, Alex Smith is ruled out of this game. We didn't know. Is Smith going to play? Is he not? Heineke, you might hear more about him later. Our guy, Taylor Heineke from Old Dominion, famously was taking classes a few weeks ago. Now he's starting against Tom Brady in the playoffs. Antonio Brown with the touchdown pass, and it's like, okay, this Brady Brown thing is starting to get really good. Washington answers with a score they desperately needed. Otherwise it felt like this game was going to get ugly. Godwin with the touchdown pass. He had a terrible day at the office. How many drops did Chris Godwin have? And how many times did they say that Brady said he has the best hands he's ever played with? It's 18-7 at the half. We're nervous. Heineke doesn't look terrible. He doesn't look good. Second half, Heineke. I mean, again, when Twitter comes together for a moment, it is a beauty, and they came together for this. Heineke turns it on, man. He's playing really good football. He's making confident passes. He's standing in the pocket. He's rolling out, and it all comes to an 8-yard touchdown run. Looks like it's out of a movie. I mean, Heineke down the sideline, full extension, hits the pylon. It was unbelievable. Heineke fever was sweeping Twitter. They go for the 2-point conversion to tie it. They don't. It's 18-16. Field goal, Leonard Fournette run. That kind of felt like the icing on it, although they march back and they get the touchdown pass. Heineke to Sims. Are there two Sims on Washington?
Yeah,
that was pretty confusing, huh? 28-23. Bucks get another field goal, 31-23, and, there's a chance for Heineke, the hero. It doesn't happen. Bucks win. I mean, Tom Brady and the Bucks, they looked pretty good. Good for Washington for fighting. We've kind of talked about it a lot this year. Ron Rivera and Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team versus Tom Brady and the Bucks. Antonio Brown, Godwin, Gronk out there, Leonard Fournette. Bucks win 31-23. So let's take a pause, BBD, because those were three big football games we just covered. I'll kick it to you, my man. Bills, Colts, Rams, Seahawks, Bucks, Washington. What jumps to the front of your mind?
Well, selfishly, wish the Giants got to play the Bucks because I think would have been a winnable game. But that's so rude to go there immediately. Heineke, man, he's just like the story. It's really cool.
And man, it's so funny how quickly sports moves. Because I was all in on this football weekend. I did some apartment searching, but because that was like my task of the weekend, anytime I wasn't doing that, I was fully allowed to watch football, which was pretty sweet. So man, when I came into the office this morning and you said Heineke, it was like, oh my God. I can't believe that was 36 hours ago, whenever it was.
That just happened.
Not a math guy. Because that was awesome.
Yeah. And the story they had when he was on the Pats practice squad, he showed up at 5 a.m. Only other person there, Tom Brady was already there.
Yeah.
Drinking his coffee, they watched film. It's like, I don't think Haskins had very many 5 a.m. film sessions.
I think he had 5 a.m. sessions. I don't think they were 5 a.m.
He's been awake
film
at 5
sessions.
a.m.
Yeah. Different.
On behalf of the Washington football team before.
Different way to go about it. Man, good for Heineke. I mean, you hope, people were coming with the hot takes on Twitter, like, he looks like a legitimate starting quarterback. And for one day he did. There's
really good.
There's
not
a lot
a book on him.
There's not a lot of people, but there's a few people that have had days like that in NFL history that, I don't think they're your franchise. But man, if he just made himself a career as a backup NFL quarterback,
it's good living.
A guy that was taking master's classes at Old Dominion 4 weeks ago, I mean, that's the dream. I mean, so
You
good.
stick around, get like a good 5 years as a backup QB.
Dude, if you're a backup QB, you can run that out
Do that
for
forever
decades.
if you're willing to do it.
Yeah. So good for him. That
He seems at least good enough to be someone's number 2.
Yeah.
So hey.
The Bucks move on. We'll talk about, well, I think Thursday's episode will be a lot of preview of the matchups, so we'll tell you what's going to happen. But Logan Thomas, McLaurin, both Sims, that was complicated for Washington. Mike Evans. Was it Evans that had 119?
He had 119 on 6 catches.
Didn't we think he was hurt?
He hyperextended the knee a week before. I forgot that was the other thing I wanted to discuss. He was the leading receiver of this game.
Cameron Brate was really good. So, yeah, this Bucs offense lining up for a really fun game this weekend. I mean, the Seahawks-Ram game was kind of ugly. Was that the worst game this weekend? Like, the first half was fun.
Yeah.
I guess it was entertaining from the fact that you were like, the Seahawks are going to kick in a gear, right? And they just never did. The Rams' defense.
The Seahawks, it's also... just something weird's always going to happen. And to some extent, it kind of didn't this game. But
Goff looked pretty good. Wolford went to the hospital, and then they just called it a stinger. So we'll see if...
didn't make it back in time for the post game.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if that becomes a conversation.
I'm assuming they would just roll with Goff, even if...
You'd like to think so, because Goff looked pretty good. His stat line isn't that impressive, but he looked confident. And you're assuming that hand gets better every week. We'll see. That Rams defense is special. That's if you're circling things that could become potential storylines, that Rams defense is nasty. That Seahawks 20 points is almost a little deceptive. They gave up one at the end that didn't matter at all. And then the Bills-Colts.
Floyd, 2 sacks apiece.
That was kind of the fun game we thought it would be. Pittman, big day. Jonathan Taylor on the ground. And, yeah, we'll see if it's Rivers' last game ever, and the Bills move on. Let's do we'll finish off the Sunday slate, BBD. We did Browns-Steelers to open up, so in that way we screwed up the Cron Pod. We'll start with Ravens-Titans. This was the game I was most excited about going into the weekend. I think a lot of people thought this would be the best game of the weekend. Some bad blood in this game. If you're a logo, be careful around these two teams. My guy Lamar Jackson trying to get the monkey off his back, 0-2 in the playoffs, which, again, I want people to think about that. And I was getting into some Twitter feuds. It's 2 games.
Oh, it was so rude. I was going to save this for after, but...
I get what people are saying, and, yeah, I guess we should save the whole thing for after, but it's 2 games. Let's talk about this game. A.J. Brown touchdown pass. He's kind of a monster, low-key. Field goal Titans, it's 10-0, and now Twitter's getting loud. It's the Ravens can't play from behind. Lamar's going to have to throw the ball, blah, blah, blah. Justin Tucker field goal. And how about a Lamar Jackson 48-yard run? And by the way, if you can run like that, you don't always have to pass the ball. I tweeted it out. I mean, his acceleration steps after juking around the 35-yard line, I mean, I've never seen someone be able to do that on a football field like that. Obviously Vic and some other different guys, but Lamar looks different. It's the long strides. It's whatever it is. It's 10-10 at the half. Third quarter, Dobbins touchdown run, 17-10. Field goal, Goskowski. They kind of get stopped. It's only a 25-yard field goal by them. Tennessee was looking, touchdown would have tied it up. And then they choose some clock. Justin Tucker field goal. Tannehill. This is what I was talking about, and I'm sorry. I'm just not going to believe in Ryan Tannehill until he does it. And he didn't do it. He throws the interception. The Ravens defense goes nuts. They're stomping all over their logo. They're waving goodbye to the Titans. I actually really liked it. I know it's not great. I know it's not classy, but we're out here having fun, right? And if the Titans are talking smack and they're going to mess up your logo and you give them their ticket to end their football season, yeah, have a little fun with it. Ravens 20, Titans 13. Derrick Henry, 18 carries, 40 yards, nothing there. Tannehill, 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 int. Lamar, 179, but he had 136 on the ground. I mean, Hollywood Brown, good game from him too. Ravens win 20-13. Lamar kind of gets the monkey off his back a little bit. And then BBD, your Nickelodeon game of the weekend. Twitter having a lot of fun with it, and good. Sports are fun. Hot take. Saints Bears. This was another one that was kind of nervous, and when me and David were talking before this, we were like, maybe this game wasn't fun, but Nick made it fun, and it's kind of true. Michael Thomas touchdown pass, his first touchdown pass of the season. A lot of fantasy people having fun with that, if you will. Bears get the field goal before the half. At the half, it's 7-3, so yeah, this was a game. Not the prettiest of football games for sure. And in the third, Drew Brees with the nice Latavius Murray was blocking on the play, dances around a little bit, gets it to him. He runs in. It's 14-3, and the way Chicago's offense had been looking, it pretty much meant game over. And then Kamara ends it 21-3 New Orleans. They get the touchdown at the buzzer, important to some. Jimmy Graham, 19-yard touchdown pass from Trubisky. This was the Nickelodeon game, which it was fun flipping between the broadcasts. Shout out to Nate Burleson, who, Nate's like becoming a big player in the NFL world, and for him to do that, I think a lot of people would have scoffed at it to be on Nickelodeon and have to compare, plays to SpongeBob and things like that. He was great. The slime in the end zone was fantastic. Everyone digging up their personal Nickelodeon memories. Win for the NFL, win for Nickelodeon, win for the Saints. 21-9. Drew Brees, I don't know, looked like Drew Brees. Kamara has a game. They get Thomas in the end zone.
Check their boxes.
Yeah, so that's the Sunday slate. BBD, we already did Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Any Baltimore, Tennessee, or Chicago, New Orleans thoughts?
Well, Cron potted the Lamar Jackson not being able to win a playoff game. Such a stupid thing people were saying, because first of all, it had only been 2 games. He's in, his 3rd year as a starter? Like, guys, Patrick Mahomes isn't the norm.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted that. And I was like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, not the normal progression for a player. He's like on the best beginning of a career ever. So don't compare him to Mahomes.
Well, BBD, that's kind of the sick part, is that I think Lamar Jackson's, like, for a quarterback in his first 3 seasons, he's 30-7. I know they run the ball a lot, and so does he, but 30-7 is insane. It's like easily the best start to a QB's career win-loss-wise ever. And so we're going off 2 playoff games. I mean, one was his rookie season, and then the second one was tough. I mean, it was his MVP. He won the MVP, by the way. I went into like a mental spiral, and I start wondering like racism and stuff, because it's just like, dude, if you look at all of this stuff on paper, minus the passing yards, which I do get, and his passing does have some flaws to it, but the dude is special. And
His
like
running is like really, really special. Top 2 like running quarterback ever.
I mean, last year he was 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions passing. This year he was 26-9. Not incredible, but also like you do have to factor in the rushing, which I mean is arguably, I don't want to say it. Yes, it's what makes him special. There's not other people that can do that.
And like to give the people who don't like him a little credit, the pick he had in that game is like
right.
An NFL quarterback can't
do that. That's very true.
Got to get that to the sideline.
And what's his name on the broadcast? He's the guy that was on the last game of Madden I played. Shaved head. I don't know. He's really good. He like overbreaks things down, kind of like it's a video game, but it's good. But yeah, he's kept circling that area, and he's like, this is where you throw it, and that's where he threw it. So yes, Lamar Jackson, Charles Davis.
Room to work down the sideline too.
Charles Davis, thank you in the chat. So yes, I get it. And I think when I talk about my bro in the night, we'll talk about quarterback limitations / expectations a little bit. But man, Lamar's going to do it differently. And the NFL has had this weird concept of you got to be 6'2 to 6'6", and you got to stand in the pocket and deliver it. And yes, it's true. Like, there's plays when you have to do that. And the game becomes tougher if you can't do that. But we've also evolved that there's guys like Baker, there's guys like Lamar. I mean, Drew Brees, thank God he was good. Russ, like, you know, these are guys that have broken the mold a little bit. And yes, they can make passes from the pocket. And Lamar can too. It's not his strength, but he's good enough at that his other stuff has allowed him to be 30-7 as a starter in the NFL at age 24. He turned 24 on January 7th.
23 all year.
So, like, I get it. He's not Tom Brady back there. He's not Mahomes. No one has ever been Mahomes. Dude's nasty. Dude's nasty. So there's a little Lamar rant that I wasn't sure I was going to go on, but
maybe I don't like the style. I get it, but it's special stuff, man.
It's working. It's working, and the whole thing is Greg Roman, who was the offensive coordinator when Cap was in San Francisco. They've molded this offense around him. And the fact that NFL coaches haven't been molding offenses to their players instead of trying to mold their players into their offense, I mean, there is your quarterback unsuccess rate. Like,
because I remember, like, a year ago, the debate was, and Mahomes has clearly taken that step. He's since won the Super Bowl. But the people would, like, kind of debate who would you rather have if you're starting a team, Mahomes or Lamar. And Mahomes had a couple more injury stuff, so that was kind of the equalizer. But people's arguments for Mahomes was that you'd have to build your team around Lamar Jackson. And Mahomes, you could kind of fit into just about any system. It's like, when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, that's what you do is you build around.
Right. You have to, put your guys in a successful position to be successful.
It's like,
and that's what they've done. Like Lamar Jackson, and this is and it always makes me laugh because, like, video games, like for years, guys would shoot a ton of 3-point shots. It's like, that's not really basketball. Or you create a player and he's really good at threes, and it's like, well, basketball doesn't really work like that. And look at the game now. And then this Lamar Jackson team, I mean, it's a Madden team. I mean, you've got the QB that can run and pass. They've got speedster wide receivers that aren't necessarily great wide receivers, but with the play actions and the stuff they do, like that's what they're trying to do. They're not running the most precise route so Lamar can time it perfectly, because that's not what neither of them are good at. It's play action so Hollywood Brown, who's one of the fastest dudes in the league, can get open. So build your team around your quarterback, and again, I've got a bro of the night that their team has done that well.
People say, like, I have to build around Lamar, and what if he gets hurt? Because that style, yes, you're more at risk to get hurt. But, like, every team, you lose your starting quarterback, and then what happens?
Yeah.
So,
30-7.
Yeah. And the other game, 30-7. The other game, I wonder what would have happened if the Bears pulled off the trick play. It happened early enough in the game. You cannot call it the reason they lost.
Right.
But plenty of time to make up for it. But, they successfully did it.
Yeah. I mean, that ball went right through his arms. That was pretty brutal for the Bears.
Basically, I'm asking, would they have covered, and would I have gotten a cool $40?
BBD kind of got into sports gambling this weekend, so we're going to keep an eye on that. #DraftKings. Our expert, Bobby Skinner, convinced him into betting, so that's
so confidently.
That's scary.
That was his upset call of the week.
That's a little scary. And the other thing, I want to give Jordan Boss a shout-out. Jordan Boss, he's been a Talkin' Yanks fan. He's a Wake and Jake guy. During the Steelers' punt the other night, the 4th-and-1 punt, they had all the momentum in the world. And he replied to it, because high on my couch, I was like, I don't think the punt worked out. And he replied, a wise man once said, do what your opponent doesn't want you to do. And what do you think the Cleveland Browns wanted there? Do you think they wanted them to punt and give them the ball back and stop all the momentum? Or do you think, I mean, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. And then there's a couple weird things with Tomlin and the 2 points. long story short, a great weekend of football, man. Good for the
Plenty
NFL.
to discuss. Nickelodeon stuff was fun.
Nickelodeon stuff was fun.
Glad they
Nickelodeon
did it.
stuff
I
was
wasn't
fun.
the target demo. I felt bad that people on Twitter seemed to be having more fun with it than I was. But then I was looking at my time. I was like, oh, I got off some good jokes.
Well, BBD, that was the funny thing. Everyone was getting their jokes off because I kind of wasn't locked in too. Because how many times have I said I wasn't the Nickelodeon guy? I just watched sports, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I did have some Nickelodeon. So then I got in there. And it was funny seeing like the different 5-year spans. Like you've got the SpongeBob kids, you got like the Rugrats crew. And I guess they're trying to bring in new kids, right? I mean, special SpongeBob premiere at halftime or whatever it was. I don't really know what that was about. But I'm into it.
I'm curious what like if it did it work? Or did kids like it?
That's what I'm interested to
I haven't
do
talked to a
because
kid.
from the social media aspect, it seems like it very much did. Like there was crazy interaction, but you wonder what the views and look like. And you guys listening probably don't care, but kind of affects us as a company. BBD will just lay it out for the people. Rams, Packers at Green Bay. What the Packers have done on offense this year versus the Rams defense. Should be watchable. We'll see what's going on there. And then New Orleans and the Bucks. I mean, Brady, Breeze, you're going to hear about that all week. Old men quarterback letting it rip. And the Saints dominated the Bucks in 2 games this year. So I don't even know where my head's at on that because last episode I was saying, like, if a team beats you twice, I really like that other team. If it's close, I really like. I don't know. I haven't wrapped my head around that yet.
They already posted the Football Reference already posted that Brady's never lost to a team 3 times in a year.
Right.
I'm not sure. Has he ever lost to a team twice in a year?
Ooh, it's a good question. There's got to be one
of
or
those
2.
Jets teams get. I think they got him once.
It's got to be
so
something.
They split the regular season and then.
And yeah, I'm interested because the other thing, motivation. Again, look at the Browns in Pittsburgh when you think of motivation in sports, and going back to the Clemson-Ohio State game. They were saying the Saints' last 2 playoff losses have been absolutely devastating, and it's like Breeze's last hurrah. So that's lining up to be incredible. And then the Ravens are playing Buffalo, which I really like that game. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson in Buffalo. That should be a blast. And then Cleveland at Kansas City. Again, enjoy it, Cleveland. Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite, which is a big number. But, I mean, they are going to lean into that underdog. They are peacocking. They're going to run the ball. So some fun matchups coming up. We'll talk more about those on Thursday's episode. BBD, any real basketball news? Just COVID stuff going on?
Some COVID stuff like
Celts are playing without... Like, Celts are playing with, 3 guys over 6'3" or something right now. We'll get there. I mean, we are officially in the weekdays are going to be basketball mode.
Pretty much.
Like, we're fully there. There's no Monday Night Football. There's no Thursday Night Football.
And after this weekend, now we only have 4 football games total to even discuss.
Yeah. Natty Championship tonight. I'm seeing a lot of UConn basketball love in the chat. You're right, guys. UConn looking good. We'll circle back on that another time. BBD. Wow. This chat's popping right now. And speaking of, let's go to the comment of the day, BBD. I ask the people of the chat. I ask the bakers. Big weekend for bakers. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Hit the like button. Bake the algorithm. Every like, every comment helps. Rising tides raise all ships. And you guys have been awesome. Thank you. We're getting 30K views a week on Facebook and YouTube combined, so that's pretty badass, and the podcast. So I'll go to the second comments first because I went to the Facebook, and there's 3 comments, and my brain doesn't really work that well. Thanks, Paul. I saw Sandino the Great donated before 2 live on the YouTube. Some of my favorites. So many people on Facebook were commenting about what does the guru use on his hair. And I was like, guru use on his hair? I was like, was my hair out? Was I looking like greasy Italian? What was going on?
I think it was a good hair day for us.
Last Thursday, I was looking hot. I just remembered that. We had Bobby Skinner on, and we were talking about his luscious locks. So one person said, does the guru use Peruvian mud through his locks 3 times a week? Not sure.
It'll only be twice.
And then someone asked if it was all-in-one or a separate shampoo, so I'll have to text Bobby Skinner about that and find out his hair recipe. And then Sam Keim, frequent flyer miles with Jomboy Media. Again, when I say leave a comment about sports conversation, I mean, this is a big one. He's talking about the 2018 first-round QBs. Is it now Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Darnold, and Rosen? Jackson has the MVP, but Allen, is going to have a top 3 MVP this season. And he's asking, will Jackson make it competitive? And yeah, I mean, we're going to get a quick answer this weekend.
I guess, depending how they play this weekend, winner is ahead in that power ranking for now.
But isn't that crazy? I mean, Josh Allen, who nobody kind of had being Allen and Jackson. Nobody was kind of lost in them. With Baker Mayfield, Darnold, and the Jets, I mean, hopefully he ends up somewhere that's not the Jets, or hopefully the Jets get a good coach, but people are turning down Jets interviews. The Iowa State coach turned down an interview with the New York Jets. I want you guys to really think about what that means. You're a football coach. The dream is the NFL. College football is awesome. Don't get me wrong. The dream is the NFL. You don't have to recruit. The NFL is more money.
Unless you want to be one of those all-time college coaches, which
there's something
at a time
there,
2 coaches.
But it's also not
and that's more basketball anyway.
Urban Meyer's looking at the Jaguars right now. So the dream is the NFL. Matt Campbell, the Iowa State head football coach, turned down an interview with the Jets. Anyways, so yeah, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Darnold, and Rosen.
I really liked Rosen.
A lot of people did. Wasserman in the chat said he's going to do one. He had a really cryptic tweet. I don't know. We'll see. Matt Campbell did the Jets, reported. Either way, thank you guys for commenting. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for reviewing. Leave a comment. Click the like button wherever you are. It helps. BBD, let's do the bro of the night, and I'm excited for this. There's a lot of ways we could have gone with this. I think mine is going to be controversial to a degree. I think the people might not be happy with me, but it's a lot of what I just said about Lamar Jackson, but to a very different football player. I'm giving it to QB1 Baker Mayfield. We got the Bakers here. I gave the coach, Kevin Stefanski, a ton of love earlier this season. He was out with COVID. They were doing all their stuff on Zoom. That was actually a really good sideline interview. They showed how they were doing the Zooms. They would put up a play, and then each player would talk about their role in the play, which they might have just changed coaching going forward. Baker Mayfield, he finishes this game 21 of 34, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And actually, you know what? I thought I was going to have to backpedal because I thought the running back yards were going to be a little more impressive. Again, the defense played great for the Browns. Nick Chubb had 76 yards. Kareem Hunt had 48. They were playing with O-linemen that Baker had never met. Because they had O-line injuries, they signed O-linemen, but they couldn't practice together. So Baker Mayfield met some of his O-linemen before the game.
Met them yesterday.
And a couple of those guys had to come in due to injury, and they actually did a good job. So, you could give this to a lot of the Cleveland Brown coaches, the coaches that jumped in, that did their thing. I gave Stefanski a lot of love earlier this season. Everything I said about Lamar Jackson, you could basically say it for Baker Mayfield. Yes, a Baker Mayfield team at this point in his career probably has to have a really good running game, and the Browns do. And, the Steelers' defense kind of told them, hey, Baker, you're going to have to beat us a little bit. Jarvis Landry was really good in this game. They built an offense around Baker. He needs some weapons. He can't do it himself. He's not, prime Tom Brady when you're looking around at the skill positions and, they're changing every year. Belichick didn't pay anyone. But, man, they put a running game around him. They improved the O-line. I think Conklin got hurt in this game. I think he was all pro, though, if I'm remembering that right. And I think the bigger thing is with Baker Mayfield and, the whole cowherd thing, the backwards hat guy and everything that goes on. You got to understand Baker did put himself in a position for people to dislike him. He's loud, he's cocky, he has fun, which again, we need to turn the narrative that fun is bad. He's got all the progressive commercials. He's playing quarterback for the Browns. This thing could have went south pretty easily, and if it did, we would be killing Baker Mayfield. I mean, on a torch. QBs can't act like that. I don't like QBs running up and down the sidelines excited. I don't like them getting in piles and talking trash. Guess what? He's Baker. And the Browns didn't tell him to be Tom Brady or be Dan Marino or be, stand in the pocket and do it. They roll him out a lot, which the Steelers contained, and they adjusted. And Baker made the throws he had to. Give Baker some love, man. Heisman Trophy winner. Guy's got some antics that, if you're an outsider, can make you not like him. He won a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns. At Pittsburgh, nonetheless. Good for Baker, man. He's my bro of the night. He deserves some love. Again, 10 years ago, does Baker Mayfield get drafted? Is he a 5th-round pick?
Yeah, so it takes him late to be a backup.
But instead, we learned if you've got the right person, the special person that can make the reads, that can lead, that can do what he does really well, build your team around him, and let him bake. So Baker Mayfield's my bro of the night. Literally a day to remember for Cleveland, which is insane. Power sports.
Sports are cool.
Bieber, you got a few.
And they get to kind of bounce back from the Lindor trade and stuff.
Ooh, I like
some
that.
Good feels. Before I go zombie in the chat brings up a fun point that the NFC side of the bracket is all kind of OG quarterbacks plus Goff.
Yeah.
But he plays that kind of style. And the AFC side is all like young, exciting quarterbacks. So we're going to likely get a young versus old in the Super Bowl, which is fun. But my bro of the night, want to go a few. It feels so rude to not have one of us give it to Heineke.
Yeah,
but we gave him his due.
Yeah. He gets it, but you can continue.
Yeah, if somebody's keeping records of this, fine. He's it.
Yeah.
But I'll give a little basketball conversation because we didn't discuss any basketball. I'll give it to Tyrese Maxey, man. Philadelphia 76ers, they had to play with 7 guys. They needed Mike Scott to warm up and be a body in uniform, but just sit on the bench because he's hurt. But he had to warm up because you need 8 guys active to play. But Maxey, they lose, but they cover the spread. He scores 39 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. His rookie year, I believe they said his career high at Kentucky was only 27. Obviously, he's only played 8 games this year. So you've never done that before. And yes, he's playing kind of by himself. He and Green, I guess Dwight Howard were the only rotation players that were active. And he's the only one that scores. It's just nice stuff. I'll give a short shout out to Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
34 points in a win against Indiana. And it reminded me that I really wanted him pre-draft before the Knicks took Knox.
Yeah.
And for a while I forgot about that, but turns out I really wish we had him.
The memories come back quick.
That's a different conversation, but Tyrese Maxey and the COVID stuff is what I want to discuss.
And LaMelo Ball, youngest player in NBA history to get a triple-double. Nick Moy in the chat on that. A lot of NBA rookies are playing well. NBA is going to start easing in, and we've got, what we're watching this week. We're going to ease in a little bit of that. But tonight, BBD, national title game, national championship game. Yeah. Ohio State versus Bama. Bama 9-point favorites. Make it a game, Ohio State. I'm not a big Ohio State guy, but make it a game. So let's see that. I mean, seems like Bama should roll damn tide. But we'll see if
chance to check out Justin Fields.
Yeah, and form an opinion on him because I've had 2 opinions. I flip-flopped. So we'll see what's going on there. BBD, you have Nets Knicks. new episode of Talking Nets and Talking Knicks. So if you're looking to get involved, I mean, you got options there. That should be fun.
National TV.
BBD, I didn't say this on Talking Knicks, but I got a bad feeling about that game.
I think it can only be big bad or big good.
I think it's going to be like the Nets. I think the Nets on Wednesday night are about to like announce the start of the NBA season.
Yeah, and I don't know what the deal with Kyrie is. Is he?
Yeah,
he's back. There's a chance he like comes back for that game, and like they just announce themselves.
UConn Huskies are good. Anything else, BBD?
There's just some good college basketball Tuesday, some ranked on ranked stuff.
Sure.
Wisconsin, Michigan,
Homegrown
Duke,
Simpson,
Virginia Tech. Duke's kind of bad this year, but still 21st. West Virginia, Baylor. So yeah, some good stuff.
Well, we were rolling today, and I mean, huge weekend. Great for the NFL. So much UConn love in the chat.
You like the
aroused.
playoff format?
I mean, it works, right? I mean, you reward the best
fine.
team. Interested to see going forward. I mean,
They were 2 long days if you like sit down and watch all the games.
so what does it? This format added 2 more games.
Yeah, they get 2 more games.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to expand beyond this, but I'm like fine if they keep this. Fine. I mean, I guess the plan. This was always going to be the new format this year. It wasn't because of COVID.
The only part I don't like is that in football, having a bye week can be such an advantage that I like that each side had 2.
Every game,
So
the
it-
second
so-
round was a team with a bye.
So if those 2 teams did meet, like they could be on a level playing field. Like that's just how my weird brain works. But we'll see. I mean, yes, this weekend was incredible. It was a great football weekend. Speaking of incredible,
fine with them going back because it was kind of perfect before as well. But
check out Jomboy Media all day today. Jomboy Jake TV, new watch and baggage, really good. I mentioned Nets, Knicks, what we're listening to, Pinstripe Strong. We're going to be recording, talking Yanks in a little bit. New morning. Katie. Jim's Katie
happy headlines.
on morning. Happy headlines. I know we got a lot of Jomboy Media Katie fans out there. Go check it out.
Jomboy Media Trivia Show episode 2.
Ooh, new trivia show tonight. I just spit a little bit. We got it. If you've been watching GM Files, we have everything. Go check it out. You guys are the best. I love you. Hot.
Jake sucks.